Hello, beautiful human. I am a little bit angry. I'm freaking mad. I know I'm not alone. I am feeling a bit ridiculous, as you might be able to tell. My insides are matching my outsides, which is hence the rainbow wig. I'm mad that I can't wear my rainbow wig anymore without it making all sorts of statements that weren't really the original reasons that I got my wig. I'm mad that I got a shitty haircut yesterday, and this looks better than what's under it right now, even though I paid for a haircut yesterday. I'm mad that I even care about that. I'm mad that when I logged into Facebook this morning, there was just a wave of hate in response to the waves of hate out there. And that's really what I wanted to talk about, at least briefly. I don't quite feel like I'm grounded and coherent enough to speak about it coherently and groundedly. But I feel like I must speak about it anyway. So here I am, giving it a go. I feel like hate is something that we're all being infected by, largely due to the narrative. Maybe it's just like something we need to go through. I'm not sure. I feel like personally, when I'm going through it, it's me trying to learn a lesson about self-love, about universal love, about how to hold myself coherent and calm, even when other people are incoherent or giving in to that hate. I'm noticing I have a distracting reflection there, among other distracting reflections. Turn this off. I was going to go snowboarding today, so I got my wool long underwear on, which I love, one of my best things in my world right now. And snowboarding is also one of the best things in my world right now, but it is 1:24 in the afternoon, which would be ridiculously late to go, and is the last minute, the latest ridiculously late that a person can go. And I found myself just here weeping, spinning my wheels, unable to quite go in a direction. So lately I am practicing sitting with myself in my emotions, even when they're uncomfortable and unpleasant and chaotic and messy. And so that's what I'm doing. I also am sharing. The reason I'm sharing is because I feel like this is something that many of us are going through, needing to go through. And for me, when I watch other people honestly processing hard emotions and coming out the other side with some greater sense of coherence, it helps me remember that that's part of the process for myself as well. So, messy hair and all, that's what I'm here to do. I know this is ridiculous. That's why I'm wearing it. I do love the ridiculousness of it. And I also love the bangs of it. I tried to get my bangs fixed. They weren't even that bad, and boy, did they get fixed. They got, air quotes, fixed into a bad position. They're not bad position. I'm exaggerating. This wig I wore for a whole year in the wind. I did try to condition and brush it out, but as you can see, I did not have much success. So it's pretty much a retired wig. And it's a mess, but it's in better shape than my real hair right now. So it's all relative, right? As I started off saying in my little ramble at the beginning, I'm aware and became increasingly aware as I was wearing my rainbow wig, which I called my sobriety wig because I bought it the year that I quit drinking for sport. And since then I've quit drinking altogether, and I don't have much sport left in my life. That's what it feels like. really one of the few things I had gotten good at in my life. I'm sure some of you can probably relate. And yeah, it's a tough position to be as free as I am. Poor me, huh? You know, I feel a sort of a similar flavor around some of the hate that I saw online today, which is not new. It's certainly not new, but it is like a fresh wave of it. It feels like we've had a lot of waves of it ever since social media came about. But then feels like maybe since politics learned how to manipulate us through social media. I guess it was always doing that, but it seems like it's become more, I want to say conscious, because that's not quite the right word, more deliberate, more intentional, more effective. Because my dear left-leaning friends who probably inspired this rainbow wig to some degree. You know, I used to hang out with rainbow people in rainbow gatherings long before there was such a thing as trans, or such a thing as the Me Too movement, or the Black Lives Matter movement, or any hashtags at all. There were rainbow gatherings, and that was a group of human beings who would gather on public lands to reestablish our right legally to gather on public lands as people. And we would come from all over the world and gather in different states. Around 4th of July was the main week. I spent several summers, the bulk of several summers, at different rainbow gatherings in different states. And it had a profoundly positive impact on my life. And so to me, the rainbow was symbolic of like our diversity, all our different colors, all our beautiful differences that make one collective beautiful human being all together. And then the trans movement seemed to like take the rainbow symbol for itself. I'm just speaking crudely from my little puny perspective, because I'm mad and I need to talk about it. Yeah, and I feel like now so last year, or 2 years ago, when I was wearing my rainbow wig, it still had lovelier curls, wasn't all ratty. And I got a lot of compliments on it, but I slowly, because I got a touch of the tism, which makes me a little slow to social stuff. I tend to take things at face value to my detriment. I have realized more and more, another thing I'm mad about. But anyway, over a couple years of wearing this wig, I started to put together that even my snowboarding buddy was reading it to mean something that I wasn't intending it to mean, which had to do with, I actually consider myself queer, but not, I mean, I have dabbled in bisexuality, but I'm pretty firmly cis at this point in my life. I reserve the right to change my mind some more, but I realized that my dabbling with wanting to have sexual interactions with females was really due to my unhealthy desire to have a man desire me, and that is attached to an unhealthy lack of a fatherly love figure, so it gets complicated. But in any case, to me, I was wearing the rainbow wig as a celebration of our diversity, and then it became apparent that actually it's become a symbol of something different from that, because it's become a symbol of a certain select type of person, and it gets read that way instead of as a unifying factor. It gets read as a disconnecting factor, or a segregating factor. And that's what I'm seeing right now from my beloved left-leaning friends, who I used to be considered a part of that faction, especially with this hair. But just even, my life has been very much one that most people would have put me in the left-leaning camp most of my life. But lately, my left-leaning friends, whenever I do see them online, which is the only time I see them at all, really, since the pandemic, is they're just spewing hate. They're just talking about who they hate and how it's someone else's fault, and how if you're not on their side, then they hate you and it's your fault and fuck you. And I just read and I understand the frustration. I really do. I feel that way a lot myself, actually. But I'm really doing my best to refrain from just spewing it onto the internet and acting like hate is gonna fix hate. It doesn't. It's like fucking for virginity, as they say. It's not a resolution to say I am so angry that fuck you all, I just hate. I know the feeling. I have felt it, I have said it, I have written it, I've embodied it in many ways, but more and more, and I recognize that it's not healthy for me and it's not healthy for anyone else, and it doesn't fix anything. And watching my fellow human beings respond to what they perceive as hate and unfairness and unjustness of all sorts, with blanket hate statements of just saying, you know what, if you did X, Y, or Z, if you voted a certain way, or I've had people criticize all white people. I've had people criticize all people who didn't vote, people who criticize all people who voted for one party or the other. And the truth is that we're all doing the best we can with what we have from where we are to make choices that we perceive or hope might be the best the best choice. And sometimes that is the non-choice, and I understand why that gets criticism, but I also understand being in a place where that seems like the best choice. So yeah, I guess this is my plea to say I'm also mad, I'm also angry, but I don't think it's your fault. I don't think it's any one particular person's fault, or any one particular political party's fault, or one particular way of thinking's fault. It's a whole collective way of feeling like we're disconnected, like we're not all one, like we're not all worthy of existing for our own sake, like we can't have differences and still appreciate each other and get along. And I'm not sure how to move forward from that, other than to put on my rainbow wig and maybe do a little dancing, a little screaming, a little singing, whatever I need to do to move it through my body. I do appreciate more and more. I recognize that there's no, like, feelings themselves aren't bad. Even hate comes from love. Hate is, as I like to call it, under-informed love. Like the person that I saw spewing hate this morning on Facebook was feeling like he wanted to protect his coworkers who were feeling threatened, and his, in his frustration, I could see that it was coming from love, and how it got expressed was just a lot of hate. And I think this is the problem that so many of us are facing, is we love living so much. We love each other so much. We love freedom and expression and life. Love so much that we want to kill anything that wants to kill it, which is, again, it's like fucking for virginity. You can't hate your way to love. You can't kill your way to peace. We humans have tried, and I think we will continue trying. And I could be wrong. I mean, I've been wrong before, but my perspective in my own body, and as I look out, is that having a hateful response to hate, or having a blanket, like, I'm just going to hate everyone who doesn't agree with how I hate just grows the hate. And actually, it's just toxic on the inside. It's as they say, like drinking poison and expecting to hurt someone else. It doesn't work. I think if it worked, we would have solved everything by now, right? Because we humans are good at hating. We got that down. And again, I think it's just love underinformed. We're really good at loving, or maybe actually we really kind of suck at loving. Might be a better way of looking at it. I felt that way lately about myself. I love so much, but often when I try to express that love, or I try to honor that love for myself and others and the world and everything that I love, it ends up getting all twisted up and coming out as hate, as separation, as saying, you know, enough, no more of this, zero tolerance for that, this, and the other. And again, I think if that was the answer, we would be already all solutioned. Like, I also have to keep reminding myself that having no challenges, having no problems, having no suffering and struggle is the wish of a dead person, as I've heard it say. Like that's part, seems to be at least part of this life, is learning to navigate our emotions, learning how to express our love for things without it turning into hate, learning how to set boundaries without hurting ourselves and others. Something I'm still very much working on, and I'm going to keep working on. So I trust that you're probably working on it as well, even if it doesn't always seem that way, just like it probably doesn't always seem like I'm working on it. I am. And I want to remind us all of that. Like, even when we see people doing atrocious things, hating, like, I don't want to get into the details, but I think we all are aware that there are a lot of atrocious things going on, and the actuality is there are always atrocious things going on. It's just ours. And I'm not saying it's not worse right now than some other times, but I am pointing out that there's always positive and negatives to focus on. And right now, the programming, if you're tuning in at a certain time of day to a certain program, then you are being programmed. And the program that is most prolific right now is propagating hate and separation. And that is largely because humans are very easy to control when we're consumed by hate. When we are hateful, we feel like we have a narrow focus, like we have clarity, but it's actually because we've shut down most of our brain. We are no longer capable of our higher cognition, no longer capable of tuning into most of the sensations coming into our body. We've shut out 99.99999% of all input, and we are just going on a program. And unfortunately, I've watched my fellow humans in the last 10 to 15 years just really, like, seems like quadruple down on the programming. And yeah, it is scary sometimes to me, although I recognize that I'm not free of it myself, even though I try to be. Like, I don't have a television on in my house. I don't show up for any programs at a regular time, other than I'm continually trying to navigate my own programming and create my own. And even so, I'm a human being connected to all other human beings in this collective. And so I do still get impacted by the programs, and I still, you know, the social program of wanting to be loved, wanting to be socially valued and held up is, I would say, as prominent, if not more prominent, in my body as in anyone else's. So it has not worked to, like, it hasn't kept me safe from that, to remove myself from the box programming, so to speak. And I recognize that I'm in a box, in a program right now. So I'm, yeah, take that with some salt. however you feel appropriate. I'm really just rambling, obviously, and I really am trying to process some anger in a healthy, fun way to the best of my ability. I really did get a bad haircut yesterday, and it made me cry quite a bit and bring up a lot of trauma for me. And it has been an interesting thing to reflect on amidst all else. Like, there's a lot of things I could be upset about. But for whatever reason, that's the thing that has been most upsetting in my body. And I'm bringing that out into the light because I think there's an absurdity to it that probably other people can relate to. This is sort of related to what I was talking about with the hate that's prolific online, which is that our brains aren't really capable, even when we're not overwhelmed by anger and shutting things down. Even when we have like our optimal brain capacity going, we're still only processing the tiniest fraction of an amount of the actual data that's out there and that's coming in to our, even just into our own bodies, let alone out there in the whole universe. And so it is always a rudimentary, like, ill-informed reaction. Probably, I could be wrong again, but it seems to me highly probable that we are all having ill-informed, or, we're all missing a lot of information in the way that we're responding to what we love and what we're feeling threatened in. There's that existential threat. And I think it does all boil down to that. Like, we love life so much, and we're so afraid of dying that we forget to live, especially in our culture. And we're so afraid of not living that we would kill other life around us. It's this weird, twisted thing we're doing. Anyway, I'm going to stop. I think I'm done. Thanks for listening. If you did, I'd love to know if you have any comments, questions, suggestions, if you can relate to anything I said. If you like my hair or you hate it. If you hate it, you can just keep that to yourself. You can tell me if you want. I recognize it's a mess, but it matches my insides right now. I'm kind of a hot, stringy mess on the inside and the outside. As I told my mom recently, I'm windblown from the inside. It shows on the outside, doesn't it? Anyway, thanks for being you, beautiful human. Thanks for letting me be me. Yeah, don't forget to get some on ya, and I'll be seeing you soon. Ciao for now. Bye.